Whatever became of the outrageous lead singer who led Van Halen to the top of the chart with Jump? Whatever became of David Lee Roth? Well, he just played Las Vegas, singing his unique renditions of songs by Nat King Cole and Louis Armstrong. Details coming up.
Counting them down with Kasem.
Well, happy holidays and welcome to American Top 40. I'm Kasem, and this is our special end-of-the-year countdown of the 100 biggest hits of 1979 on American Top 40. You know, that old show business motto, the show must go on, isn't just something a public relations guy dreamed up. For professional entertainers, it's a way of life. Recently, Van Halen's lead singer, David Lee Roth, was hit by food poisoning just before a show. But he went on anyway, sang his heart out through the pain, and then walked off stage before he collapsed. Here's their hit that finishes the year at number 95. Dance the Night Away.
Have you seen us?
American Top 40.
Well, now we're up to a group known for being as wild and rowdy backstage after their shows as they are when they're on stage performing. They're the four-man band Van Halen. And their lead singer, David Lee Roth, explains it like this. He says, quote, "We're not this way because we're in a rock and roll band. We're in a rock and roll band because we're this way." End of quote. Van Halen's current hit holds at number 12 for a second week. Here's Pretty Woman.
Pretty woman. American Top 40. Top 40.
American Top 40 originates in Hollywood. I'm Kasem. Now, we're up to the song by the heavy metal superstar who's living out his wildest fantasies. I'm talking about David Lee Roth, the lead singer of the group Van Halen. When we spoke to David recently, we asked him if his success has given him freedom to do anything he wants. And he told us about a club that he formed called the Jungle Studs. David said, "The first book I ever read all the way through from cover to cover was Tarzan of the Apes, and I've had a fix on the jungle ever since. I also found that very few of the people around me were willing to head into the jungle and live off the land. So I formed the Jungle Studs. In the Amazon, we hunted and fished for everything we ate." David also told us that because he insisted that the Jungle Studs chart and map their own course, they were lost in the Amazon jungle for a week. But he says, you stop worrying when you come back from a trip like that. It changes your outlook on life. If something goes wrong on stage, I can just sit back and think, that's okay. I've seen worse. David Lee Roth and his Jungle Studs have also hacked their way through the jungles of New Guinea, and he told us his next high adventure will be climbing the high Himalayas, in particular, the mountain called K2. This week, David Lee Roth is at number 23 with his first adventure as a solo act. From his EP, Crazy from the Heat, here's California Girls.
American Top 40.
These are the hits ranked by Billboard magazine.
Number 24.
David Lee Roth told us what his new hit, Just Like Paradise, is all about. He says, quote, "It's the classic story of the guy driving down the street, drives up to this girl and says, 'Hey, it's not paradise, but we know that doesn't exist anyway. But what's in here is just like it, so get in.' Yo, Dave, fasten your seatbelt. You're rolling downhill this week. Down 10 notches to number 24 on American Top 40, Just Like Paradise."
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Kasem. Now, whatever became of the outrageous lead singer who led Van Halen to the top of the chart with Jump? Whatever became of David Lee Roth? Well, he just played Las Vegas. It may be the single most radical career change in rock history. Not that long ago, David Lee Roth was a long-haired, outlandishly dressed hard rocker famous for his kicks and leaps and his screaming vocals on heavy metal hits like Dance the Night Away and Panama. But in 1984, David Lee Roth left Van Halen for a solo career, a career that had only limited success. And now, a decade later, he's reinvented himself. These days his hair is short, he likes to wear matching pants and vests, and he doesn't sing rock and roll. David Lee Roth is now a Vegas act, complete with a big band and dancing girls. Recently, he played 6 nights at Bally's in Las Vegas, doing a show he describes as a combination of vaudeville, the old Ziegfeld Follies, and burlesque. Instead of singing his greatest hits from his days with Van Halen, David Lee Roth sings his versions of standards by Nat King Cole, Louis Armstrong, and Fats Waller. And instead of singing along with blazing electric guitars and heavy rock and roll drums, David does his singing backed by a 14-piece dance band he calls the Blues Bustin' Mambo Slammers. David Lee Roth says, quote, "This is the next 30 years for me." And he did so well in Vegas that he's taking his show on the road with planned stops in Tahoe, Atlantic City, Rio de Janeiro, and Monte Carlo. That's our update on hard rocker turned Vegas headliner, David Lee Roth. Now on with the countdown.
Casey counts them down.